I'm Supreme L, and I'm back with um, another episode of The More We Need to Know series, Volume 2. And I'm trying this new microphone out, so ho- hopefully it's good. Not being a hope man, but hopefully it's good. Y'all can hear me crisp. And we're going to get into it. Want to know that, let me see here. Do I need that? I'll do it later. Okay, we're going to continue with this here. Okay, we're going to get into nationality and birthright. And this is one of the scrolls that's coming off of the zip drive that I had gotten from, uh, funny to know, Reawakening Minds, House of Ram, uh, Dr. G, and, excuse me, the National Grand Sheikh Tar Tariq Bey. Again, that zip drive, I implore you to get it. It has a lot of information on it. Um, but let's get into it. The scroll is dedicated to the reawakening of our peoples who have been asleep far too long here in the Americas. It is now time for you to wake up. All right. We were not brought here by slave ships. That is a lie. In fact, it is the greatest lie ever sold and told. This brother, this man, name is Prophet Nobuju Ali. From now on, you will remember this man's name. Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali is his appellation. He did the greatest thing for our people ever here in America. Yes, I know. Most of you never even heard of him. However, he is one of the greatest men of our lifetimes. He reclaimed everything that was taken from us in the year 1928. You just never knew about it until now. More on the prophet later. First, let's look at our story. The inscription on the Liberty Bell comes from a biblical source which reads Leviticus 25:10, which reads, "And ye shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you. And ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family." It is this in Philadelphia territory, the Liberty Bell. This is in reference to you. Time to wake up and take back what's yours. Did you know that America is part of the dominions of the Moroccan Empire? And I want to stop right there and to back that claim, let's bring this up first. Not that one. Let's bring this right here. You can look this up, and this is a letter from George Washington, the so-called first president of the United States corporation, company. But the first president, they say, um, which is not true. But this is a letter from him to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Sultan of Morocco. All right, city of New York, December 1st, 1789. And we're going to read in part. Great and magnanimous friend, since the day of the letter which the late Congress, so it was a Congress before then, by their president, now he just admitted, now this is George Washington, he just admitted that there was a president before himself, addressed to your imperial majesty, the United States of America has thought proper to change their government and institute a new one, agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor herewith to enclose a copy. The time necessarily employed in the arduous task and the disarrangements occasioned by so great though peaceable a revolution will apologize and account for your majesty's not having received those regularly advised marks of attention from the United States which their friendship and magnanimity of your conduct toward them afforded reason to expect. So they were paying tribute, taxes, and marks. So they were, having to pay up, you know, and they neglected to do that. They defaulted on their quote unquote payments to the Sultan. But I digress. The United States, having unanimously appointed me to supreme executive authority in this nation. Your Majesty's letter of August 17, 1788, which by reason of the dissolution of the late government remained unanswered, has been delivered to me. I have also received the letters which your Imperial Majesty has been so kind as to write in favor of the United States to the Bashars of Tunis and Tripoli, and I present to you the sincere acknowledgments and thanks of the United States for this important mark of your friendship for them. We greatly regret the hostile who have never injured them and is not to be removed on terms of our power to comply with. Within our territory there are no mines, whether of gold or of silver, and this young nation, just recovering from the waste and dissolution of a long war, have not as yet had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce. But our soil is bountiful and our people industrious, and we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. The encouragement which your Majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions right there. That's important. That's important. Dominions. With your dominions. The punctuality with which you have caused the treaty with us to be observed, and the just and generous measures taken in the case of Captain Proctor make a deep impression on the United States and confirm their respect for and attachment to your Imperial Majesty. It gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity of assuring your Majesty that while I remain at the head of this nation, I shall not cease to promote every measure that may conduce to the friendship and harmony which so happily subsist between your empire and them, and shall esteem myself happy in every occasion of convincing your Majesty of the high sense which, in common with the whole nation, I entertain the magnanimity, wisdom, and benevolence of your Majesty. May the Almighty bless your Imperial Majesty, our great and magnanimous friend, with his constant guidance and protection, George Washington. So that right there says a lot, right there in itself. And that should be an eye-opener. You can look up on the internet for this letter, and it is readily available. And I would implore you to look this up, because again, the dominions, he's naming the dominions of Morocco. So this land is Morocco, not the United States. The United States is a company, as we talked about last night, which was incorporated in 1925, last incorporated in 1925 in Florida, or was being called Florida. So we'll go back to who you were, and we'll continue with see United States Code Title 22, Chapter 2, Section 104 for the same dominions of the Moroccan Empire, and that the Moors inhabited this land even before the American Indians, quote unquote Indians, and that the Moors were and are your so-called Negroes, blacks, and African Americans, and that blacks is a misnomer that deludes to slavery as opposed to a freeborn man or woman. Did you know that black and African American is not a nationality but a 14th Amendment semi-slave status? Did you know that the family of nations will not recognize you as a member of the human race if you do not have a nationality, and that you are considered a refugee? See U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act Section 101A 42 and Section 207E. And we have to also remember that before Martin Luther King was assassinated, and he started to open up a little bit more, and he said, "My people are a refugee in their own land." And look up that speech, because he had a speech and he said that. He said, "My people are refugees in their own land." And this will back that immigration section as well. Remember, black is a color and not a nation. Even though Europeans call themselves white, if you ask them their nationality, they will tell you Irish, German, Scottish, Dutch, etc. But you, as the alleged black man, will say, "Oh, I'm African American." But Africa is not a country. It is a continent with over 50 countries in it. Which nationality are you? And there are three Americas: North, Central, and South. You can't be four continents, which the North, South, Central are just one continent in itself. Actually, is America. Really, is America, not one continent. Pardon me, but one mass. North America, and it's America. I mean, it's America. And to back that, you are an American. You are the true American. I'll pull this up here. Webster's Dictionary of 1828 definition of American. First put it in this proper matrix. Parts of speech, adjective pertaining to America. American, a noun. A native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans when they made their conquest here or came here for colonization. But now, that's important, but now applied to the descendants of the Europeans born in America. So if you really look at that, we can actually say there's a criminality or legality there, identity theft, really, because we are the true Americans. But I move on. Did you know that Europeans stripped you of your Moorish nationality so that you could never tie yourself back to your birthright inheritance, aka the Americas? Do some research on the Moors and the American Spanish land grants. Did you know that Noble Drew Ali attended the Pan-American Conference in Havana, Cuba in 1928 and received a mandate from the families of nations that acknowledged the Moors as the rightful owners to these lands: North, Central, South America, Canada, Mexico, and all adjoining islands. Seek out the minutes to the Pan-American Conference, and also research the Bustamante Codes of 1928. The Bustamante Codes of 1928. Let me write that down. Pardon me. Bustamante Codes. Bustamante Codes. and research Noble Drew Ali, aka Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, you will see he was much more than a mere religious man, but the head of state and royal noble born amongst us and recognized by the nations of the earth. Right? So we go on, and I want to show you something else that go right here when it says the Europeans stripped us of our Moorish nationality, right? When they start calling us black, let me go here and I want to show you something in Congress, right? Resolution number 75, 1933, Legislative Journal, House, page 5759. Mr. Wicken, this is in the records. This, you can look this up, it's in the records. Mr. Wicken, Mr. Speaker, I desire at this time to call upon resolution number 75, printers number 1034. The resolution was read by the clerk as follows. In the House of Representatives, April 17, 1933, many sons and daughters of that proud and handsome race which inspired the agriculture of North Africa and carried into Spain the influence of its artistic temperaments have become citizens of this nation. In the city of Philadelphia, there exists a Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here the end of their quest for a home and of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. This society has done much to bring about a thorough absorption by these people of those principles which are necessary to make them good American citizens. These Moorish Americans have since been here missed the use of the titles and names annexations that were so familiar at home and which are used in accordance with the doctrines of the religious faith to which they are adherents, therefore be it resolved that this House commends the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia for the efficient service it has rendered the nation in bringing about a speedy and thorough Americanization of these former Moors, and that in accordance with the fullest right of religious independence guaranteed every citizen, we recognize also the right of these people to use the name affixes El or Ali or Bey or any other prefix or suffix to which they have heretofore been accustomed to use, or which they may hereafter acquire the right to use. On the question, will the House adopt the resolution? It was adopted May 4th, 1933. So they know who we are. All right, they know who we are, and it's in the records. So let's go back. And continue here. We were, excuse me. All right. The European has erased any knowledge of our true history. He made us believe that we were brought, and I don't really like to use that European because it goes back to Queen Europa. They really stole that, but I'm going to leave that alone. He made us believe that we were brought over here by slave ships. This is a blatant lie. There's no way that they could have brought millions of us over here, as they claim, because the ships that they had were only fit to hold 100 to 200 people at a time. That would mean that they would have had to take over 1,000 back and forth trips to bring us over here. Do the math. That just does not add up. In fact, we were already here. There was a great continental shift which caused the continents to separate. And you can look back at that and look and research Pangea, and everybody know that it was one landmass, Pangea. If you look at a map you will see that all of the continents will fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. Yes, and we do know that. Example, good. Pangea, and then happens over time, the shift. Yes, exactly, exactly. This is the depiction of how the earth separated. As the Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught, this land was called a Mexam. When it split up, the part we know as the Americas became Northwest Mexam. So now you are starting to get the picture, right? We were already here, North America, Central America, and South America, and all the adjoining islands belong to us by birthright. And we could take that and go back to ancestral, okay, our ancestral estate. And again, I had a conversation with the brother Miss Raheem and Mantis 29, Miss Raheem, and we were conversating about that very topic, ancestral estate. Look that up and do some research on that, as well as I am keeping my thumb on that. The European would make you think that the island of Atlantis was a myth when in all actuality they know it to be true. They name many things after Atlantis like hotels and resorts and even cities like Atlanta. We are all descendants of Atlantis over here in what is now called America. On record, the French called us Moors, Muurs, or Moors, Moors. So you see that we are Moors and we are aboriginal to the land. Notice in the movie called Black Knight starring Martin Lawrence, they are always referring to him as Moor. They know you don't know this, so they can put it out there like that because they know that you won't identify yourselves. They won't identify your slave self with your real self because they have you calling yourselves black, which does not exist. I know I have never personally seen a black person a day in my life. I know I haven't really either. Our skin colors range from dark brown to a light brown or tan color, but not black. I challenge any reader of this scroll to show me someone who is black as this ink that I am using to print this book. In that matter, show me a white person. Show me one person who is the color of this paper being used to transmit on. I bet my life that you can't. This was all a trick to classify you and remove your birthright and status. These Moors were the people who built the Great Pyramids all over South America, Peru, Canada, Alaska, and Georgia, that scattered all throughout North America along the Mississippi River and its tributaries are found mounds built out of tons and tons of earth. The people who built them were called the mound builders, and they were the descendants of the Malian Moors, Olmecs. These Moors eventually migrated to North America from Mexico and became known as Wichita, Yamasee, and the Ben Ishmaeli tribe. The Ben Ishmaeli tribe was a collection of what is now known as the Lenape, Winneponah, and the Nanticoke Indians, who migrated to Indiana, and Illinois, and referred to themselves as Moors, even though the United States government continued to classify them as Negroes in order to strip them of their indigenous rights. And as we can see here, some mounds. This is the Etowah Mounds in northern Georgia. beautiful. That is beautiful. One of the Mississippi mounds built by us. Again, beautiful. Ben Ishmaeli tribe, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky. This is a map of the Ishmael. Okay. Jumped out, jumped right back in. Okay. Let me see. Are we still good? Still good, right? Yeah, we still good. It is often not talked about, but the Moors had enslaved the Europeans before they enslaved us so-called blacks. Their women were sold like commodities into the harems and as concubines of wealthy Moors. Okay, now I want to take you to when the colonizers came here, right? And they started laying these black codes, right? Christian black codes, right? Here we go, Christian black codes. Now, one of the codes, as we can see, Article 3, which we will get into later, permits the exercise of the Roman Catholic Creed only. All right. And then it says there, number one, Article 1, decrees the expulsion of the Jews from the colony, really meaning us. You know, we really can't be a part of them, really. But, you know, some of us, they had, but we are the real Yahudis. But I wanted to take you to where it says, Article 6. All right, we forbid our quote unquote white subjects of both sexes, male and female, to marry with blacks under penalty of being fined and subjected to some other arbitrary punishment. We forbid all curates, priests, and missionaries of our secular or regular clergy, and even our chaplains in our Navy to sanction such marriages. We also forbid all our white quote unquote subjects and even the manumitted or freeborn blacks to live in a state of concubine with slaves. All right, you see that? You see that? So that goes back to having, you know, concubines. We had them enslaved first. That's why we actually are suffering now, because we, you know, had them in slavery first. We enslaved them, and we're suffering a karmic debt about that, you know. And when everything, you know, when the doo-doo hit the fan and sprays the wall again, and we clean it up, we gotta do it the right way. We cannot treat them like they treat us once we come back in power, because we will be back in power again. We will. The doo-doo's gonna hit the fan, and everything's gonna come to a screeching halt, as the prophet said, and we're gonna, you know, pick back up. And when it pick back up, it's gonna be in the favor of us. Even say it on the Liberty Bell, everything gonna come to our favor. But we just gotta do it the right way. We can't, you know, put them back in bondage and slavery and treat them how they treating us now. We gotta follow our principles. But to continue about the concubines and the wealthy Moors again, back then, you know, we had their women as concubines, and that's why one of the Christian black codes saying they don't want us messing with their women. And even back in that time, they just didn't want us with them women. So, but this is the reason why the Moorish noble were, for the most part, bleached out and became known as Tawny Moors, Turks, and Arabs. which are no more than fixed mulatto races. This also is the reason for the Moors in the coats of arms of noble European family. And here I'll go. Here it goes right here. Coat of arms, as we can see, and we all know this symbol here, the sword over the crescent, moon, and star, and the great mother there. You know, subjugation of the Moorish woman. We should no. And you can see some of these Moors uh, have this symbol on their fez. Brickmore coat of arms, ancient Moorish symbols of the Moroccan shrine. The so-called black nobility of Europe and the Bilderberger group, the European nations paid tribute to the Moors well into the 18th century. In the book United States and the Barbary Powers, the English, French, Dutch, Danes, and Swedes, and I may say all nations are tributary to them. David McRitchie in the book Ancient and Modern Britons says that the word blackmail is the result of this tribute paid to the Black Army, or black oppressors, as the English refer to them. And this is good, y'all. We've been on here for a minute. I gotta take care of something, but we will come back and we will finish this up here. We will definitely finish this up, and we're going to get into some other things. Um, in this series, the more we need to know series. There's a lot of information, but I'm going to bring as much as I can to you again throughout the week. But I'm going to get back on here later on today. To be honest with you, I'm going to go and try to catch my brother Sheik Kuchar Joel and the Canaan Land Moors, and then I'm going to jump back on here. But again, do our research, and we will also come up with the truth, facts. They have it in their records. So, and everything is in their record. Again, I appreciate you guys. I love you, Moors. And with that being said, I will definitely catch you in a few hours and come back up here and we will finish. Again, I am Supreme L, and this has been another episode of The More We Need to Know series. This is volume 2, and we will return. All love be to all.